Hi.
Hey.
How are you guys?
Good.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, you're hearing me good?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
we're doing well. How you doing? How you guys holding up?
Pretty good. Keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Nervous?
Nah.
No.
I think you went through more pressure than this show.
Yeah.
That's nice, very nice. I'm very grateful to have you. And let's talk about like all the quarantine and the COVID situation.
Yep.
And just first, I want to know more about you guys. You guys are my first couple. So
Okay.
I want to know about each of you. So let's start with is it Thais?
Yes.
Thais?
Yep.
Thais, perfect. Yeah, just start with Mary. Where are you from? Talk about when did you start circus training? Just quick presentation of yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm from West Virginia, and my background is dancing. So I moved out to Utah to go to school for dancing. And when I moved out here, I saw that there was a high diving show looking for divers, like cliff divers. And I didn't have a background in diving, but I was really intrigued by it. So I went to the audition, and they basically said if I would be brave enough to just try, that they would hire me and coach me. So that's what happened. I got hired, and then it was the same with Tice. He got hired to be a diver there. So we met in 2009. And
Is it, diving in water?
Yeah.
yeah, like platform diving.
Right.
Mhm.
Pretty
So-
high jumping.
Yeah, the highest he ever did was 80 feet. The highest I did was 50. Yeah, I was too scared to go all the way up.
Yeah, cool. And so you after that you kept working with the other show, or you start working together the moment you met?
Yeah, so we were doing the diving show, and it actually closed down, and we had been wanting to put an act together, so we thought that was a good opportunity to see if it would work. So we started training together, and then we got married in 2011. And our first professional contract was in 2012, but that was with him being an acrobat and trampoline, and I was doing aerial silks. So we decided that we needed to focus full time on our duo act so that we wouldn't have to take separate contracts. So in 2013 was our first professional duo job, and we just kind of kept building our connections and our network and kept working. And in 2017 was the first show we did with Cirque du Soleil with our trapeze act.
Is it? I saw Allume, but it is Emaluna, or is it like?
We've done a show called Reflect. We did a show called Rebel. We did a show called Vittori, which was the last show we did.
Yeah.
And then we were scheduled to do the show in Quebec this summer at the Three Rivers. But it's
for Cowboy Fringant?
but it's
wow.
sadly canceled.
Seems like a very nice show.
Yeah, so we were excited, but that's canceled because of the virus. So currently we're scheduled to go back to perform at Celestia at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas, and they're hoping to reopen in June or July, but they're just kind of taking it day by day. We don't know.
Yeah, day by day. That's period for now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you, Thais.
Yep.
Where are you from?
Okay, so I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's where we're currently living right now.
Nice.
And I actually never had a performing background. My background was like sports, like American sports, football, basketball, baseball, the typical sports. And so that's what I did all growing up. And then also I did that all through high school. And then that restaurant that she was talking about, the Mayan, where it's a dinner theater, people come in, they eat dinner, and they just watch a show. And so I grew up like 10 minutes from that restaurant, so I've always known about it. And so when I turned 18, my dad actually is a magician, and he's been a magician my whole life. And he actually was hired to go into that restaurant every Tuesday and do magic shows, because they do like a kids eat free on Tuesday. And so
like Lucia, like the same concept, like
It's similar, yeah.
similar. Okay, yeah.
It had like a rainforest cafe kind of vibe.
yeah, if you've ever been to the Rainforest Cafe, it kind of has that vibe.
Yeah.
But like actual performances that go on.
Yeah, exactly.
So my dad was doing magic shows at the restaurant every Tuesday for Kids Eat Free night, and he was the one that actually overheard that they're in need of entertainers and divers and stuff. And so, and again, I had never had any diving or any experience in entertaining, but I just thought, hey, maybe I'll just go try it out and see what happens. So I went and tried it out. They told me that I wasn't very good at diving, but they could teach me to be good at diving.
How was the first dive? how high it was?
So the platforms within the restaurant range from about 7 meters to 10 meters.
Okay.
So decently high. And
I believe you.
So I tried out. They hired me, and there happened to be a guy that was working there who was an actual like diving coach, and so he kind of gave both of us like some tips on how to do it. But that's where we met. We met at that restaurant, and so and then the rest is kind of history. The restaurant closed down 2011, kind of forced us to get out of our comfort zone and make a decision whether we wanted to keep training and keep doing like this whole performing thing or pursue like a different thing. So once that restaurant closed in 2011, we decided to take about 4 to 5 months of just living off of our savings and basically just train every day and then try out for shows, whatever shows that we knew of. Cirque du Soleil had auditions that came into town. There were auditions for SeaWorld San Diego. They do a circus show there every summer. So we just started trying out for shows, and like she said, in 2012 we got hired to do that SeaWorld show, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling for us to keep pursuing performing. And so after that, it just was nonstop. And then we did America's Got Talent in 2018, and then did it again. The Champions round in January in 2020. So yeah, it's just kind of been kind of a crazy thing for us, because we never planned on being circus performers. We never planned on it actually being a career for us. It just sort of happened, and then it just kept going, and it never stopped. And so it's been kind of a cool like surprise of a career.
Yeah, you guys did great achievement already as a couple.
Oh, thank you.
It looks like you did more as a couple formula than separate. You know what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Is it true?
Yeah, definitely.
More like, that's crazy.
Well, and that was kind of the decision that we made when we did the SeaWorld show in 2012. She did her own role as a silk artist, and then I did my own role as an acrobat. And we just decided after that contract was over, we decided from then on that in order for us to stay in this industry and keep doing what we're doing, we needed to have an act that we do together and that we perform together, because we just saw that it would become really difficult for us to be hired individually, because chances are we wouldn't be able to do the same show. Chances are we'd be distant from each other quite often. So we're like, you know what, if we're gonna make this work, we have to do an act together.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, just a quick question now. I mean, I have a section in the chat where I'm talking about the future goals and what's the biggest challenge for the moment. But just before, I want to ask a question about like the couple relationship. How do you work out together? I mean, do you have like the same habits, same routine, like preparation, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, we have the same goals where
Yeah.
we're both super into fitness, but we're actually kind of on different schedules because I'm a night person and he's a morning person. So,
Okay,
you know,
that was
he
my question, yeah.
he wakes up in the morning and he works out early and kind of does his thing, and then
Okay.
I wake up later and then I do my cardio and all that. And
You meet at the middle of
yeah,
the day,
yeah. So right now, after we do this interview, we'll do our second workout of the day. So we'll do that together. But the whole first part of the morning, we're just kind of doing our own thing, and then at night
That's good.
we're together. Yeah.
Yeah, we're basically with each other 24/7.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like I get up in the morning and it's like basically we're apart because she's going to be sleeping longer. We're apart for like 3 or 4 hours, and so
do your own stuff.
yeah, I'll do whatever I do, and then we'll meet up in the afternoon, and then do our trapeze training, our skate training, and then potentially actually do like a workout together.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So, big question. What's the biggest challenge at the moment, since you cannot act in front of people, or I don't know, maybe making money, or what's your biggest struggle for at the moment?
Well, so right before the virus hit, we had just started a contract in Las Vegas. So we were really excited about that, to have a Vegas residency, and I think we were there a week and then it shut down because all the shows had to shut down. So right now it's the first time in 7 or 8 years that we haven't actually been working, and we feel really fortunate that we've been able to make a living full time performing since we've been together. So that's amazing. But then now everyone's out of work.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no options. My brother is a Broadway performer, and he says, Broadway right now is completely shut down for the first time ever. So, I mean, and we're not in this alone. It's every single performer isn't working.
Yeah.
But I think the challenges that we're facing is like we're so used to, and every other performer that's listening could say the same thing. We're so used to being on stage and having that like adrenaline of like nightly performing and stuff like that, and so it's kind of weird to like have that just completely like eliminated. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is just kind of like filling the time that normally we would be performing. And so I noticed that like as the evening starts to come up, like as we get closer to like later in the evening, I noticed myself getting a little bit like antsy, because that's usually when it's like getting ready for showtime. That's usually
do something.
Yeah, that's usually when it's time. And so I start like trying to like figure out what to do, because I just have this yeah. It's like this built-in like feeling of like, okay, like get ready for the show's gonna be coming, and so it's a little bit weird.
That's why I called my show Artist in a Cage. Like I worked with the artist at Soleil as a kinesiologist, and I work with the injured artist. So it's worse, because you can't do your act, and you feel like you're trapped inside your own self,
Yeah.
And that was my main idea behind that.
Right.
All right, that's great. All right, do you have any goal for the next week's project or stuff you want to accomplish?
Yeah. He's actually started writing a book about fitness. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, the thing is like when things like this happen, like, obviously this is not ideal for probably anybody. And so, but you just kind of have to like try and find the opportunities in the very, very like not ideal situations. And so So something that we've been doing is we've had interest in starting an online fitness company, like a business. Fitness was my first passion and my first love. So before I became a performer, I was way into health and fitness. So like strength training, bodybuilding, powerlifting, things like that. That was like my first love. And so I've always wanted to have a business where I can help people with health and fitness types of things. And so since we've had so much downtime that we're not performing, we've been putting together our online fitness business. And so I'm kind of in the process right now, in the middle of putting together a book of my journey with like health and fitness as I've grown, and all the things that I've studied and learned throughout the years. And I'm just kind of compiling it into one thing, and it's gonna have like my daily routines. It's gonna have the things that I believe in in terms of how to strengthen your body properly, how to put on muscle properly, how to feed your body with proper nutrition. So I'm kind of putting together a book right now on that. So we've taken the time right now to spend a lot of time building this online network of how we can kind of distribute this content that we've been putting together for fitness and health. So that's kind of what I mean when you've got a bad situation, find a way to make it good. And so it's been kind of cool because I have never sat down and written before.
Yeah.
Like I've never, like even in school, like I would avoid writing as much as possible. And so this has kind of been a cool experience for me because every day I sit down and I write for like 3 hours. And
are you guys writing on different subjects? Or so Mary, I know you participating to the writing processes?
Yeah.
Participating or?
With mine, it's going to be more the point of view of a woman. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like one relationship.
A lot of it. So the one that I'm putting together, it's going to have like a lot of our like experiences together, but it'll mainly be like my personal experience of health and fitness. But then she'll be also putting together like the same, but in her point of view. And so that's kind of what we've been working on mostly.
Nice. Talked about reading it. You send me a copy.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. All right. Let's go to the top 3 section. So have you read the little email I sent you?
Yeah.
Nice. So let's start with you can have like a mutual top 3, or you can do your own top 3 if you don't want to fight about it. All right. So let's start with Mary. Top 3 to things to do every day.
So for me, if I don't stay active, I start to get depressed, and especially in the times we're in now. So I don't let myself start the day unless I walk for 30 or 40 minutes. So I don't even eat breakfast yet. I just wake up and I walk, and I just make sure I sweat. Yeah, I just need to sweat a little bit. Yeah. And then after that, that's when I actually kind of start the day. So I'll respond to emails. And I think it's important to just stay connected with people during this time. So even if it's not a work-related email, I'll check in with my friends, make sure they're doing okay. And then...
Do you guys have friends and family in Utah, or is...
His family's in Utah, but my whole family is back in West Virginia or New York City and Colorado.
I saw people writing at Brazil. Is there any people from Brazil, or
No.
It's probably like a spam, or I don't know.
It might be some fans. We have a lot of like fans that saw us on AGT that are from like South America.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that could be it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And nice. Top 3 things to do every day. Bicep curls.
Yeah, I wake up and curl, and I go to bed and do curls. It's just curls. It's just curls all day long.
Top three girls.
Yeah. So my biggest things for kind of like staying healthy and stuff during this time is what she said. So walking is probably the biggest one. And what I do is after every meal that I eat, I walk for 10 minutes. And so it's kind of something that I've recently started implementing, and I've been pretty amazed at the effects that it's had just on my overall, the way I feel. So I usually have a little bit of like digestive issues. I've just kind of always had digestive problems my whole life. And so when I eat a meal and I walk for 10 minutes, it really supports my digestion. It helps with my blood sugar control. It just does. It's magical. It really is. It's an awesome thing to do. So walking after each meal is probably like my number one tip.
Yep.
Number two would be every day make sure that you sweat. So whether it's a sauna, which probably most people don't have access to a sauna. So what we do, because we don't have a sauna, what we do is we'll do these like 20 to 30 minute like circuit workout trainings, to where it's just basically 20 minutes of straight like circuit workout. So by the time you're done, you're really, really hot and really sweaty. And so at a time like this where your immune system is really important to be healthy and strong, detoxing your body and getting a really good sweat is so important. So walking, exercise / sweating would be my number two. And then number three is a combination of sunlight and just being in nature. And so if you can at least once a day get some sun and be in nature, that's super healthy for our bodies.
See a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you hug one tree a day.
And you guys, is there any? Utah seems like a pretty nature. Like a white. I don't know how to say it, but like a place where you can go, you can have access to nature very like quickly.
Definitely.
So it's nice for you guys.
Yeah, we live 10 minutes away from like some of the biggest mountains in the whole like continent. Like there's huge mountains, and we're just like 10 minutes from it. So we every once in a while we just go head up there and just walk around.
Good breathing session over there.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Now top three books. Are you guys are writing? So are you reading books to get inspired, or what kind of like top three books you guys are having for the moment, or top three in your whole life? Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, him right now, he's just writing all the time, but I like old, like Jane Austen kind of books, so or mysteries. So I don't really read a lot of like inspirational books, but I would recommend right now that people should read a book like that, if you're looking for some inspiration. But for us, I mean, we're really just focusing right now on getting our fitness business going, so we're really not reading that whole much.
With me, I don't read. Reading is something that has been really difficult for me for my whole life. It's just always been a difficult thing for me to just sit and read.
Yeah, well, that comes from he used to get really, really bad migraines because of his eye condition when he would have to read. So
reading's
for you to focus.
Yeah, it's a struggle. And so when I do read, it's not for entertainment. It's for like educational purposes only. But my main thing is I listen to podcasts every day. So instead of giving you 3 books that I would recommend 3 podcasts. One of them is a podcast by Ben Pakulski, who's a former bodybuilder who now is he's actually from Canada. He's now kind of in this realm of like health and longevity. And so his podcast is great. It's called the Muscle Intelligence Podcast. So I listen to his podcast a lot. He's got a lot of good insights on health, fitness, and then just cool tips and stuff that you don't hear like in a mainstream like health book that you'd be reading. He takes a much deeper dive into that stuff. So his podcast is fantastic. I'd recommend that. Another
is very practical. I saw a lot of his work.
Yeah.
And is it maybe I didn't catch him since a couple of months or maybe years, but I think he's going more into health than bodybuilding.
Yep.
Is it?
Yep. So he's been a retired bodybuilder for about 5 years now.
Okay, so you're tremendous.
Yeah, dude, he was unbelievable. And but he's just got a lot of cool insights, and it's kind of cool. It's been because I've been following him since I was a kid, and so I've watched his transformation from, you know, being one of the best bodybuilders on the planet to now becoming this guy that coaches bodybuilders, but also coaches people in just overall health and longevity. And so he's great. That's a great podcast. There's another guy named Ben Greenfield. He has a podcast called the Ben Greenfield Fitness Podcast. He's got a lot of cool insights too. He's very similar in the fact that he's an athlete, but instead of being a bodybuilder, he was a triathlete. So like an Ironman athlete, a cyclist, a runner. He does those like Spartan races. So he's got a lot of cool tips on keeping the body healthy, mobile, tons of nutrition and supplementation